research paid for by the Rockefeller family. There are no borders with the Illuminati. They just do what's necessary to bring about the problems that they can offer the solutions to. And as a result of the Second World War, of course, the world changed fantastically everywhere. Now, there's another version of it now called no problem reaction solution. Example, weapons of mass destruction in Iraq, where you don't need a real problem, you just need to sell the perception of one, like global warming and Al Gore. By the way, there's one thing I've learned over the years about Al Gore. Many things I've learned, but one key thing. If Al Gore is involved, it's a scam. And therefore, global warming's a scam. And when you start to see that 31,000 scientists have now signed a document saying there is nothing to justify this theory about global warming, you know you're starting to make some progress. Now, what we've had in America is a presidential version of problem reaction solution unfold before our eyes in the last few years. George Bush was brought in, only as a front, to create massive problems with military excursions abroad and invasions and all the rest of it. And also towards the end, right on cue of his presidency, massive economic collapse, which is far worse than they're telling because they have something else in store along those lines. Now, what they then did was bring in this man who came from nowhere, like Barack Obama, a total conman who's involved with some real despicable pieces of work, not least a guy called Tony Rezko, a slum landlord who's now in jail for fraud, who was one of his major fundraisers through his political career. And he was brought forward and sold extraordinarily well to a gullible public as like the new broom sweeping clean, had the big smile and all the rest of it. And his job is to come in, because he got elected because he wasn't George Bush. I mean, you know, anyone had a chance going against after 8 years of Bush. And his job is to sell the solutions to the problems that Bush brought about. And those solutions, and we're seeing them by the day now, follow my website headlines, etc., and others, as the agenda is introduced by this guy. Hope-gnosis. Hope, what a waste of time hope is. It's like going round on a carousel horse hoping you'll catch up with the one in front, because hope's always in the future, isn't it? It's never in the now. I hope things will get better. I'm going to accept this shite now because I hope things will get better. No, I want change now. Thank you very much. Buggy your hope. I'll have it now. Thank you. Let's get moving. So he's sold this idea, and they did it brilliantly. It was a big mind control operation. If you notice, at no point in that entire year of campaigning against Hillary Clinton and John McCain did he once give any detail about what he meant by change, hope, and something to believe in. Nothing. So what they did was create an empty screen on which the people were projecting their version of what that meant upon him, so he became all things to all men and women. Because he represented what hope, believe, and change meant to them, because he never articulated it. If he had, and he said, what I really believe is what he's doing now, he wouldn't have got elected. Change. It's all mind control. Look. Put it in the subconscious, subliminal, change. Don't say anything. As the Nazis said, make the lie big, make it simple, keep saying it, and eventually they will believe it. Adolf Hitler. Make the lie big, make it simple, keep saying it, and eventually they will believe it. Exactly the same thing was played. If it works, why change it? I found this, I thought this was very appropriate to Obama. The wolf found that Shepard's clothing worked even better. That's what it is. He's a fraud. He's a fraud and a shyster on every kind of level you can imagine. This is how a few can actually control the masses. Because you can't do it with tanks in the streets and soldiers at the door. There's too many people. It's like trying to physically herd sheep together. You can't do it. You'd need a man, maybe more than one, for every sheep to do it physically. You have to do it through the minds. Either through fear or through conditioning people to think the way you want them to think. One of the things that I think opens up so much to what's really going on in the world is when we realize that the same force controls apparently different organizations. So this giving our mind away, giving our power away, has actually created the vehicle for the few to control the world. And that vehicle is overwhelmingly what I call hassle-free zones, call them comfort zones as well. Every dogma, economic dogma, political dogma, crikey, it's clear all night. Each of those dogmas and societies in general are all hassle-free zones. By that I mean there is a very narrow area of acceptable thought and behavior, the norm, which, if you conform to it, you're left alone. You're hassle-free. No one calls you mad. No one calls you dangerous. No one gives you a hard time for the crime of being different if you conform. If you start to think, well, actually, I've got a mind of my own and it's a unique mind, and therefore I'm going to have my unique truth and my unique view of me and life and everything, you start to get very dangerously close to the edge of the hassle-free zone, and eventually, if you keep going, you step outside of it. At that point, he's mad, he is. She's, what strange she is. He's dangerous, he is. Oh. And most people don't want that hassle. They don't want to be treated like that. So most people, even if they put their toe out there, go, oh my goodness, I'm staying in here. It's flipping hassle out there. So what happens? The mass comes. You know, you go down any rush hour in any city in the world, London, New York, Sydney, anywhere, and you see all those hundreds and hundreds and thousands of people coming past in the street. They're not projecting to the world what they really are, what they really feel, what they really want to do with their lives. They've got a mask. And it's a mask that says, this is not really me, but this is what I think is acceptable to everyone else, so I can occupy the hassle-free zone. And for me anyway, it's that war in the psyche between that part of us that I call I am me, I am free, that wants to flow with our uniqueness. The war between that and the part of our psyche I call oh my God, which is at the heart of emotional, mental, and therefore physical dis-ease in the world. And what it's also created is a mass schizophrenia. Because not only are we slaves to impose thought and behavior as a human race, we're also the police force of all the other slaves. In other words, what will the other slaves to impose thought and behavior think about me escaping from it? We police each other. It's like having a cell full of prisoners, and one of the prisoners finds a means of escape. It's all the other prisoners that run to block the exit. We are both the slaves, the prisoners to this imposition, and the police force of it.